Hello students, it's nice to meet you after a long time, though this is perhaps the most undesired circumstance to meet. Anyway, we'll carry on with our study in whatever mode it is possible. And today we are going to deal with the essential features of Twelfth Night, a romantic comedy by Shakespeare. When I designate Twelfth Night as a romantic comedy, I also understand that it is necessary to define what a romantic comedy is. But before that, let's talk a little bit about the publication of Twelfth Night, or the date of its authorship. We are not very certain about Shakespeare's authorship, but still it has been found out that perhaps Twelfth Night was written in between 1601 and 1602. In fact, the first recorded public performance occurs on the 2nd of February 1602. As I have already told you, it's a romantic comedy. Now, what is a romantic comedy? A very important topic, particularly for examinations on Twelfth Night, is whether you can actually regard it as a romantic comedy. Largely, it is a romantic comedy, though it has significant departures from it as well. The Elizabethan pattern of comedy, the Elizabethan form of comedy, was generally regarded as a romantic comedy. But today the term is widely used to designate comedies where follies and misunderstandings of young lovers are the major preoccupations. A comedy must have a happy conclusion, but in a typical romantic comedy, there would be a deliberate avoidance of serious satirical concerns. As I've told you, we'll deal with this in detail later when we'll consider Twelfth Night as a romantic comedy. As I've also told you, that Twelfth Night is a romantic comedy largely, but there are significant departures from it. Twelfth Night, however, is it's not a kind of a comedy in absolute terms, in the sense that if you know the plot, you will know it's not a comedy for all the characters over there. It's not all the characters over there end the plot very happily. Malvolio leaves the stage in a rage, and Antonio, the one who had saved Sebastian, leaves it with deep satisfaction inside. In fact, the writing period of Twelfth Night somehow is coterminous with that of Hamlet, Shakespeare's very well-known and very significant tragedy, which was also written between 1599 and 1601. So you have elements of uneasiness, elements of the otherwise in the comic texture of Twelfth Night. Now let's come to the sources of Twelfth Night. As you know, all Shakespeare's plays have some source or the other, and the most conspicuous source of Twelfth Night is a comedy of manners written in 1531, Italian, called Glinganati, 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 which means the deceived ones. It's written by a group of people, the learned people of Siena. They formed a kind of a committee of authors, so to say. And they were called Academia degli Intronati. Academia, Academia, degli, Degli, Intronati, Intronati. Glengarnity deals with intrigues of the upper class and mutual self-deception between lovers. There's a secondary source as well. There was a very well-known and very common book in Shakespeare's England, which came out in 1581. The name is quite long. Farewell to Military Profession, containing very pleasant discourses fit for a peaceful time. This is the entire name of the collection. It's actually a collection of stories by someone called Barnaby Rich. Farewell to Military Profession, containing very pleasant discourses fit for a peaceful time. It came out in 1581 and it's written by Barnaby Rich, Barnabe Barnaby and Riche Rich. It's actually a collection. It's not an original composition. It's a collection of works, short stories taken from different sources. And over there is a story called Of Apollonius and Scylla. Of Apollonius and Scylla. Apolllonius and Silla, Scylla, which had been written by Matteo Bandello, Matteo, Matteo, Bandello. Twelfth Night is also indebted for its plot to this particular story. Now, so far about the sources of Twelfth Night. Now let's discuss the title. What does the title refer to? Now, if you know the plot of Twelfth Night, and when I have come to talk on Twelfth Night, I have assumed that you already know the story, you know the plot at least. If you know the plot of Twelfth Night, you will be knowing that there is hardly any reference to the Twelfth Night in the plot itself. Twelfth Night, it's a 12th night after Christmas, which is normally the 6th of January. Not normally, which is the 6th of January, the 12th night after Christmas. And it is the 12th night is significant in Christian cultures because it suggests the end of the festive season. You must be reminded of the fact that this play is succeeded by, or this play is coterminous with Hamlet, one of the finest tragedies of Shakespeare. So the end of the festive season. And the uneasiness that the comic plot or the comic texture that Twelfth Night has sometimes comes very handy with this title, becomes very appropriate over here. There is also a reference to a kind of a pagan festival, because the early days of January, often the 6th of January, was quite well known for what is known as the Feast of the Fools. Okay? Actually, what happened on the 6th of January? It was the day on which the Magi came and met the babe at the manger. Now, what did they start? What did they come with? They came with gold, myrrh, and frankincense. And what did they start? They started the convention of giving Christmas presents. But this was a kind of this is widely known as the Epiphany, this particular incident in which a sudden realization occurs to the Magi. A star travels and settles over the manger. This is called the Epiphany. Now, before the 16th century, in pagan England, there was a pagan festival called Feast of Fools, which had been converted into the Epiphany by the Christian authorities after Christianity came to England. So that also happened in the first few weeks of January. So in 12th night, if you know the story and if you know the subplot, you will realize that it has both the Christian association, the association of the Epiphany, the association of the revelation of the truth and the light, which is associated with the figure of Viola, who in fact is beyond all illusions. But there is also a kind of atmosphere of the riotous Feast of the Fools, particularly in the subplot, in the revelry of Sir Toby and Sir Andrews. There is also a kind of a tendency to go beyond the discipline, the established discipline of social life in most of the characters over there. As in a romantic comedy, the characters suffer from self-deception, but there is one character over there who is not under any kind of illusion. She has taken refuge in Illyria, Illyria being the land of illusion. It's of course geographically there is a place called Illyria and it is located by the Adriatic Sea, but that is only relevant when it comes to the Adriatic Sea is only relevant when it comes to our understanding of the play. Shakespeare must have chosen the name Illyria because it reminded him of the English word illusion. The only character who is beyond illusion over here is Viola. The Duke is in love with his own idea of being in love. He formats himself. He has constructed himself against the image, over the image of a romantic lover. Olivia doesn't know what real mourning is. She has constructed herself over the self-image of a mourning sister and a mourning daughter. It's Viola who will come with an epiphany, with a sudden realization in their lives. It's Viola who will show them the truth. Now this name obviously thus not only reminds us of the Magi coming face to face with the light and the truth, but it also reminds us of the Feast of the Fools. We'll end this segment now. In the next segment, we'll deal with the alternative title of Twelfth Night, or the subtitle of Twelfth Night, or What You Will. It's better to call it an alternative title because the name fully is Twelfth Night or What You Will. Thank you.